The Edit User Account function serves to update or modify individual records. It allows the user to edit one record at a time, requiring the selection of a specific record from the list view before initiating edits. Here's how the process unfolds. First, selection of record. The user must choose a record from the list view to begin the editing process. This selection determines the record to be edited, and the associated user ID variable captures this information. Second, form for modification. Upon selecting a record, a new form opens to facilitate the modification. This form enables the user to make changes to the selected record. Third, updating database. Any information provided by the user within this form corresponds directly to the selected record in the database. Upon submission of modifications, the program updates the chosen record with the newly provided information. Let's begin. Firstly, access Module 1 and input the necessary code. This involves declaring the user ID variable, which will store the ID of the chosen record. Afterward, double-click on the list view and input the necessary code. This code snippet iterates through the selected items in the LVW list of user accounts list view. For each selected item or SI, it assigns the value of SI.text to the user ID variable. After this loop, the code enables certain buttons btn edit, btn delete, and btn print selected by setting their enabled properties to true. Let's have some tests. Next, we'll create a new form specifically designed for the editing process. To add a new form, navigate to the Project menu, select Add New Windows Form, and then click the Add button. Utilize the toolbox to add 5 labels. One combo box, 2 text boxes, and 2 buttons. The form's layout should resemble this. Let's configure the properties for each element as described. The first button is named btn cancel. And has the text amp cancel. The second button is named btn update and displays amp update. There's a combo box named CBO roles that uses the drop-down list style. The form itself, named Farm Edit User Account, opens at the center of the screen and is labeled Edit User Account. There's a label prompting users to select a role and another labeled username. Additionally, there are labels for password and retype password. The label named LDL username doesn't have any specific details mentioned. Two text boxes are included, one named TXT password and another named TXT retype password. Let's switch to code view. Double-click on the form and start by creating a method called getRoles. This method should retrieve all the records from the roles table. Next, go to the FFRMM edit user account _load and write the codes. This code performs the following actions. Get roles, a method or function call, possibly retrieving roles data from a table. Try block. The code within the try block attempts to execute certain operations while handling any potential errors that might occur. OpenCon and CloseCon. These likely open and close a database connection respectively, surrounding the database operations. This line executes a SQL query to select data from the user's _TD table based on a specific ID. The user ID variable seems to be used to identify the record to retrieve. If not rs.eof, then this checks if the result set or rs has found a record based on the query. Line 39. It appears to set the selected index of a combo box, CBO roles, based on the value retrieved from the role_ID field. The negative one could be adjusting the index, perhaps if the indexing starts from 0. This line likely sets the text of a label, LDL username, to the value retrieved from the username's field of the record. These sections handle exceptions or errors that may occur during database operations and ensure the database connection is closed, regardless of whether an exception occurred or not. Return to the design view, double-click on the Edit button, and write the codes. This code triggers the opening of the FFRMM Edit User Account form. Let's perform some testing. As you can observe, once a record is selected, the buttons become enabled. Clicking the Edit button triggers the opening of the Edit User Account form. Return to the design view.
Double-click the Cancel button.
And write the codes. Return to the design view, double-click on the Update button, and write the codes. Lines 57 to 61 validate the form for any empty inputs. Should any be found, a message box will prompt the user. Line 63 ensures that the password entered contains at least 6 characters. Otherwise, a message box will display an alert. Line 65 verifies whether the entered password matches the retyped password. If they differ, a message box will indicate a mismatch. At line 68, assuming all inputs have been thoroughly checked without any errors, the process proceeds to update the information. To handle potential errors, the try-catch block is utilized. At line 70, the connection to the database is established. Line 71 initiates a SQL query to locate the user ID for the record intended for update. Line 72 executes the updating process once the record is successfully found. The code snippet updates the values in the database record. The password field, passwords, is updated with the text from the txt password input. The role_ID field is set to the selected index from CBO roles +1. The modified underscore at field is assigned the current date and time using datetime.now. Finally, the changes are committed to the database using rs.update. Following the update, a message box displays the confirmation. Record has been updated. Me.close closes the edit user form. Line 82 seems to be intended for refreshing a list view in a form called Farnham list of user accounts. It seems to call a method or function named load user accounts within that form. Inside the try block, any exceptions that occur are caught and handled. The code within the catch block displays the error message using a message box via message box. x.message. Error.clear is called to reset the error state. The finally block ensures that the close_con function is called, presumably to close the database connection, regardless of whether an error occurred or not. Let's put the program to the test. Begin by selecting a record. Click on the Edit button, triggering the appearance of an Edit User Account form. Second, within this form, you can make edits to the user's role and password fields. Third, after making changes, click the Update button. A confirmation message will appear to confirm the modifications. Fourth, once you click OK, the form will close and the list view will refresh, reflecting the updated information. Lastly, notably, the modified date corresponds to the computer's current time, indicating when the record was last modified. If you encounter date and time format issues, the following solution might help. This problem arises when the date and time format in the database table differs from that of your computer. To address this, adjust the code within the Update button. These modifications will ensure that the current date is retrieved and formatted to match the database's date-time format. The format used includes 4 small i's to represent the current year, followed by 2 capital M's for the month, 2 D's for the day, H for hour, 2 small m's for minutes, SS for seconds, and VAF for milliseconds. This formatted date and time will be assigned to the modified underscore at field in the database, resolving any discrepancies in date-time formatting. When the Edit User Account form appears, The role and username of the selected user account can be changed.
This concludes our current session. Join us for the next video.